Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is take 2 for your relationship reading. Oh my goodness. It's been technicaldifficulties.com. If you have one of those days, I'm having one of those days. Anyways, we have made it. Today is your relationship reading that's happening right now. What do you need to know about your relationship? As you can tell, I have 3 beautiful crystals in front of me. See which one you're drawn to. See which one is calling your name, and we're going to create our group number 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to take a moment and take a sip out of my beautiful coffee while you take a moment to take a deep breath and release and decide. So now that you have made your choice, if you are brand new here, well, first of all, thank you so much for joining me for this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. We do these general readings every single day right now until we sort of figure out like a new little workflow, but there's a different general reading each day. Is designed for all signs. Really soon there's going to be actually a sign specific reading that is coming right at you, but for now it's designed for all signs, and sometimes you focus on your relationships or on your careers or some serious tough love that you need to hear. But for now, if you have made your decision, then let's dive right in. Group number 1, Amethyst. Group number 1 for this week for your relationship. What do you need to hear? What do you need to know? Today is a beautiful day. We received my coffee maker. If you love coffee, you already know. If you have to wait 2 weeks to get your coffee maker back and then you receive a brand new one, it makes it a beautiful day. My fearless freedom lights up the world. I feel like some of you are like having trouble with commitment right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like the very thing that people are drawn to you for is the very thing that you kind of struggle with. Like, it's almost like you're having a tough time with feeling like you're being tied down type of thing. Because fearless freedom to me, it always just kind of feels like you need your freedom, but you like, you know, being in a committed relationship, but not too committed where you kind of lose your individuality. Not that that becomes a healthy relationship anyway, but let's see what else is coming up for you. Oh, wow. Way too many cards. The spark of a hustle. So very gut feelings, things that you're working on, but also it's almost like you're sort of like working on it. You're trying to like work things out essentially with your partner. You know that like in order for you to kind of move forward, you both need to kind of put in the effort. And I see that you want to put in the effort. I'm not sure if they want to put in the effort, but if you were drawn to the amethyst piece, then obviously with amethyst, it's a very intuitive stone. So fierce serenity. We're also in Leo season, so perhaps the person that you are with is a Leo or you're a Leo. Definitely this deep control of your emotions and how you kind of conduct yourself within the relationship. One thing that I am sort of getting though is I wonder, especially with like this need for freedom and for movement, but then also to put in the work, and you know, like sort of like you show up with that momentum, or you show up with that attitude of like you wanting to kind of make the relationship work, but at the same time you kind of don't put up with too much because you're also confident. Like, I'm definitely getting the confidence piece. Okay, let's see what the tarot has to say. What is coming up for group number 1? Okay, so we have 10 of Cups energy, which is all about everything is just kind of working out the way that you're looking to, like that settling down, that energy of everything is just that like really flew out. Okay, let's see what else is coming up. I feel like you are sort of, this is where we're at. You're sort of longing for, you know, settling down, setting down, like settling down and setting up, like putting down roots. And you're willing to work for that relationship, right? But it's almost like underlying energy right now is basically strength in reverse, which to me it very much just feels like you're giving your strength away, or you're giving your power away, right? Like it's more like lacking boundaries more than anything else. And then you're also sort of like moving, you're wanting to like move things forward, like lots of movement, right? Like 6 of Wands, 3 of Wands, 4 of Wands. And to me this is all about like, I don't feel like things are not going great, but I feel like you're just sort of not getting what you want, because the lion comes up a couple of times. So that to me is like something is, it's almost like there's like an energy shift that's happening with you guys. And at the same time, you're also kind of wondering like what else is there? Just sort of wondering like, kind of like not so much like finding a different person, but just what type of, it's almost like you're wondering about what type of a life will you have with this person. And then there's also that energy of, you know, like being together and celebrating your relationship and moving forward together and kind of settling down, but at the same time like really solidifying your relationship. And I think that that part kind of scares you, like to, it's almost like it's moving too fast. Like there's a lot of movement and I'm just not sure exactly you and this person really want to move in the same direction, or if it's like moving too fast, then you might be like, where like, I'm sensing that it's more about like you feeling like you're losing your sense of freedom if you settle down with this person. But the person that you're with definitely wants, they want like the house and then the, you know, the children and like the whole 9 yards type of thing. You might wonder like, who do you become when you're with this person? On one hand we have movement, and then on the other hand you're sort of like, I'm not sure if that's what I want, right? And then in a sense, I guess like you might be feeling a little bit powerless, I guess, or just like that you're losing your power. I wanted to see if there is a crystal that can kind of help you guys, group number one, to see I would kind of go back to actually, if we are speaking about crystals. So here's an amethyst piece, and if you have chosen this group, then there's a reason for it. And one of the reasons could just be that you are drawn to, like you intuitively kind of know already what you need to do, but you're just not ready to kind of say it out loud. But I wanted to pull a card for you guys from the crystal deck, because this is actually, I think, good advice to kind of just see like, what is the underlying message here, right? Or like what can kind of help you guys. Overall, I don't think that it's as big of a deal as you might feel like it's a huge deal, but I don't think it's as bad as you kind of make it seem like. Find the way to forgive. So I guess like the hesitation is, so here's a rhodonite, and I think that the hesitation, I guess, that you might be feeling has a lot more to do with what has happened in the past. Perhaps that's what's making you feel like you're just a little bit hesitant to kind of move forward, and then you also kind of feel powerless, right? So that's all I have for you for group number one. Stay tuned until the end of the video where I give you guys sort of a collective message that you all need to hear for what you can kind of use for this week as sort of like an underlying message that sort of come through. So let's go on to group number two. Okay, friends, if you have picked this beautiful rose quartz piece, you are successfully have chosen group number two. So let's see what your messages are for your relationship for this week. What do you need to know about your relationship? I witness the darkness and I call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. I feel like you're with someone who might be like wanting to give you all the things, but you might not be ready for it. Like it's definitely triggering some fear for you guys. where it's just, I feel like there's a sense of hesitation here, and it's triggering your darker side or your fearful side, I guess. Okay, let's see what else you need to know. Oh my goodness, a lot of things. Shift the way to new potential. And your past supports your future. And what does your soul say? Okay, so couple of things that are happening. I think that you're having a hard time with change right now, the way that you kind of need to adjust the way that you are within this relationship. And then at the same time, I think that some of you might be triggered by what happened in the past, perhaps like some past pains that sort of happened, and like that memory might still be very relevant for you right now. But then you're also having a really hard time with listening to your intuition. And right now, ultimately, the message here is to don't listen to your intuition, listen to your heart. Like you kind of need to, again, just practice some self-love before you can kind of move into like a healthy relationship, and allow that self-love to kind of fuel like the direction of your relationship, or where things kind of go, without attaching any past traumas, any past pains from the past. And I think that if there aren't like a lot of attachments that you're kind of like, or like a lot of perceptions that you're throwing at this new person, then perhaps like you'll have a chance to, move forward in a healthy way. Let's see what the tarot has to say about all of this. What is coming up for group number 2 for this week, please? What is coming up for group number 2? Devil in reverse. Okay, you have a little extra card here. So I feel like right now you might be feeling like if you move forward with this relationship, you're going to be tied down. And part of you really, really wants to kind of just run away from all of that. And it's you kind of talking to your friends about like what's happening within your relationship. They're sort of like people around you are trying to be supportive and give you advice, but perhaps it's not the best advice. Underlying is the sun. So you are here to shine, but I think that you sort of need to work through this, and a lot of that is actually just witnessing like all of these different demons that are kind of coming up, all of these different triggers. I see this as more like your past triggers or your past fears that are sort of coming to the surface, and you're having a hard time kind of shifting into like a new perspective of how you can kind of look at your current situation or your current relationship as a positive thing, rather than as something like you're being tied down, or like when kind of people talk about relationships in a really negative way, where it's more of a burden rather than it's a wonderful thing to have in your life. And I think that if you can kind of quiet down all the noise around you, I do see that like you would have like some of your friends are trying to kind of project some of their opinions or their past experiences, but just know that that's their opinion, and it's only an opinion. It's not it's not something that sort of it doesn't have to define your relationship. If you kind of tune back into your own heart, see what resonates, like actually what resonates, then you will kind of find like which direction to go into. But all of the things that have happened in the past with past relationships that didn't really work out, a lot of it also kind of set you up to where you are today. So just keep that in mind. And ultimately, I think that's kind of why like the underlying energy this week for you is that you might feel stuck, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just sometimes you can kind of look at it like you feel stuck, but you can also look at it like right now you just need to take a pause. And especially with the new moon in Leo, it's not a bad thing to kind of take a little bit of time to kind of rest and contemplate and think through things a little bit differently, rather than just kind of jumping through the next thing and the next thing and kind of feeling like you need to kind of rush yourself into making a decision of where things are going. let's see if there's a crystal beyond rose quartz, although I do think that rose quartz will be one of the most accurate ones for you this week. But let's see what is coming up for you. Aquamarine, go with the flow. I think that if you release that grip on, you need to kind of figure out everything all at once, and you need to know where things are going. If you can kind of release your grip on that and just allow things to unfold naturally, and know that either way you're going to be fine, then I think that it will kind of ease off that pressure that you might be putting yourself under. Of, you know, like you might be like literally at a point where you're just asking all of your friends, what should I do? What do you think this means? What do you think that means? So Spirit is really telling you to just kind of ease off a little bit, try to go within, relax, do a little bit of self-care routines. If you guys want, I will leave a link here on a couple of my recommendations for what you can do as a really holistic way of doing self-care routines, so that you kind of have some to choose from. This is all I have for you for this week. Please stay until the end of the video, because I will be giving you guys a collective message that I think that you guys can all use for this week as sort of like an underlying energy that kind of shapes us this week. Okay, friends, last but not least, if you have chosen the citrine piece, then this reading is going to be for you, because then we have made it to group number 3. So what is really coming up for you for this week? For your relationship, for your love life, what is it that you need to know this week? What's happening for you for this week? The key to prayer is to forget what I need. So I think that that kind of sums a lot of things up perfectly, where I think that you need to kind of release that grip on you needing and wanting, and really just allow it up to the universe. And there's a lot of surrendering that really needs to happen here, because I think that for some of you, you might be like really gripping on a little bit too tightly with your person, and they might be feeling it, right? They might be like, ugh, I don't know how I feel about this. Perhaps put yourself into other people's shoes, perhaps kind of look at it from other people's perspective of not only of what you need, but what they need. What else is coming up for group number 3 in their relationship, please? What is coming up this week? Success in transformation. So I think that right now you guys are both kind of working on your relationship. You're working the kinks out. You're working on not triggering each other's, really creating circumstances that's really not bringing out the best in each other. You're reminded definitely to put a bit more focus on your partner's needs rather than your own needs, because the more you're kind of gripping onto what you need, it might not be the most beneficial thing. And it's not to say don't worry about what your own needs are, but if that's the only thing that you're worried about, then you're going to have a really hard time adjusting, right? Creator Earth. I feel like for some of you, you guys definitely need to do a little bit of grounding work. You're a little bit too much in your head right now, and if you spend some time out in nature, that can definitely ground your energy, where it's not going to, or like exercise outdoors, spend some time like in the sun. All of those things are going to be very healing for you right now. And kind of release this attachment to how things should be in your relationship, and just allow it to be what it is, so that it can unfold for you naturally. Where are you being called to journey to? So it's more of an invitation for you to kind of see, okay, where is this really going? But then don't have this attachment of where it should be going, or how, like, it's sort of like, oh, after like 3 months, we're supposed to be like moving in together. Or like, like when people kind of start asking because they attach a time frame to it. you're being asked to release that. And a little bit, get your energy grounded. I really like that. So your underlying energy ultimately is the lovers. So there is a lot of love. There's a lot of passion that is between the two of you. But I think that right now you're just sort of feeling like you have a hard time seeing all of the things that are happening for you within this relationship. And you're just sort of like, why is this not happening the way that I want it to happen? Right? It's not happening fast enough. We're not moving forward fast enough. We're like, where is this moving to? Like, I'm definitely getting like that whole like dialogue of just like literally, where is this going? And you're asked to release that, because if you set it in as an intention rather than just attaching to it as you need the answer right now, and like it doesn't need to be like this push energy. It can be this flow energy. And the difference is to go back to this, to forget what you need and just allow it to unfold without gripping so much. And you're also, I think that there is the sense of like, you are independent, you know what you want, and yet here we are, like, you have a really difficult time being vulnerable. And that's kind of what you need. Like, you need to know how to become vulnerable so that, you know, people can like feel comfortable opening up to you. And that takes time. Like, that sense of vulnerability and that deeper connection, it does take time to develop. It doesn't happen overnight. And the more you're pushing for it, the more it might not really happen because you're pushing the person away. Again, citrine is all about joy, all about finding the light. Like, citrine is one of those stones that really kind of loves to be in the light, right? But it loves to be in the light because it's lighthearted. Like, I definitely get that. And if you were drawn to this stone, and then this is like, it's almost like you need to kind of lighten up the load a little bit, but then also get your energy grounded. So do things like doing some yoga, doing some meditation, getting really your energy back to, like, take a bubble bath. Things like that are usually very healing and they're very therapeutic. Because the more you're staying in this Nine of Cups energy of like, why is this not happening? Then the more you're going to literally drive the person away. And that's essentially what might happen. So emotionally, it's sort of like you're a wreck. But try not to be, because underlying energy is actually really positive. That there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of, you know, like, they're willing to make a commitment, but you just have to kind of release that grip, right? Okay, these are the crystals that came up for you that I think will be helpful. One is Unakite, which is live in the now, and then the other one is the golden healer quartz. It's all about opening the door. So are you going to do a little bit of, are you going to open up the door to be okay with being vulnerable, right? And being in the present and in the now rather than worrying about the future. That will actually help you guys to just kind of not only stay in the present moment, but also to enjoy and appreciate the little moments that your relationship has to offer. So this is what I have for you. I hope that you guys found this helpful. Let's hop on over to the end so that I can give you guys a collective energy update of what I think you can kind of take with you for this week. So let's go. All right, friends. Well, first of all, if you made it to the end of this video, then welcome to the end of this video. For this week, the underlying energies have been quite interesting, something totally different for each of you, for each group. Here's what you can kind of take with you as sort of like an underlying advice for the entire week, especially while you're working with the new moon energy from Leo. Don't dim to fit in. Be okay with who you are. Be okay with shining your light, because ultimately that's what you're here to do. And be okay with asking for the things that you really want within a relationship. But at the same time, just don't dim to fit in. Don't play it small, because really ultimately you can lust for that beautiful relationship, but if you're not going to go after it and ask for what you want and do the work, then you're never going to get it. So see how you can actually shine your light this week, and how you can perhaps shine that spotlight onto someone else to make them feel special. This is all I have for you. First of all, thank you so much for sticking around and for joining me in today's video. I really do appreciate you. Consider subscribing if you have not yet already, and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I do a different reading, every time I do a different video. We are kind of going through a little bit of a channel transition where I do a different reading each day. Sign readings are actually coming, so you will be seeing individual signs that I will be posting for September, so that's coming really soon. And we're going to be chatting about all things self-care, so keep a lookout for that. And that's all I have for you today. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know which group you went with, and if the message has resonated. I would love to hear from you. And in the meanwhile, just keep shining, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.